Good morning.
Good morning.
Give me 1 second. I forgot to grab my notebook. I'm like, wait a minute. I have nothing to write on.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Hold up. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
Good. I thought about you a lot this week.
After last week's Cry Fest.
Well, as I said, it's I have friends who swear, and this has been 30 years going. It's not a meeting with me unless until somebody cries. And that person sometimes is me.
You know? Um, yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
And how kind of interesting that I didn't record, ended up not recording it. Um, and I sort of, I had a moment where I was like, oh, damn. That's like, no, that's good. Maybe she doesn't have to see it again.
Yeah,
Um,
I think living it was enough of an experience.
they're like, okay, let's turn this around to see like what's valuable about it that she doesn't have to like watch it get re-triggered again.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure.
Good deal. All right, so how's your week? Tell me as you sort of survey your progress and what we talked
Yeah.
about and what you were working on and your new way of thinking about writing. I'm just curious. Let's just talk for a minute. Like, what are you thinking about? What what insights or ideas are coming up? What are you noticing?
Yeah, a lot actually. So last week I actually had a paper to write for the class I'm currently taking. And the entire time it felt as though, God, I don't even know how to explain it. It just felt like I'm relearning how to ride a bike. That's what it felt like. And it took me forever, which I was shocked, right? Because I'm so used to being quick with things, which it was fine. I mean, it I think it was expected. I just didn't expect it to be so like I had to think about it, like I had to actively think about
Hmm.
what I'm doing.
Hmm.
Um, where my mindset was already at a point where it's just like second nature and I'm just
Hmm.
typing, typing, typing. Now
Hmm.
my brain's like, wait, stop, go back. And it's not used to doing that. So I think that was interesting. I was so drained after writing that paper, and it wasn't even that extensive. It was just the fact that I had to like stop and, um, I don't know. It was, yeah. But
Well,
then,
we interrupted a habitual pattern.
right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's what it definitely made it easier to kind of see my thought process, like the way that, because my ideas are there, but what
Mhm.
isn't there is the structure. That's
Mhm.
one of the biggest parts that I've noticed.
Mhm.
Even with redoing the paper we had talked about, um, that one I did struggle for two reasons. The first one is that this was a paper we were supposed to write about like ourselves, like a self-evaluation. So there's a lot of I, my, me, which
Mhm.
I went back and changed, which that was even eye-opening because I didn't realize that you could do that without even using I, me, my. Like you're referencing the tool as opposed to your I guess, opinion or your,
Mhm,
like you're using
mhm,
the tool, the assessment as the assessment identified X, Y, and Z,
mhm,
as opposed to I saw my thoughts, my
mhm,
whatever.
mhm,
So that was one. And then the second part to it is things were just kind of randomly placed. Like I had structure in some parts where I would identify like, oh, the tool identified X, Y, and Z,
mhm,
and then I would talk about them. But then there
mhm,
were some parts where I was like, I don't even know what to do with this because it was just
mhm,
like smacked in there.
mhm.
Um, so I'm gonna be honest, with those parts, I didn't know what to do with them and I just completely like took them out.
It's fine. All right, let's talk about that. Let's talk about what you're beginning to see, what you're
Hmm.
beginning to notice. Tell me a hobby, something that you love doing that you like how you spend your time.
Um, I'm a big movie watcher. Um, I recently started working out, which I never thought I would do. Yeah, active in my church.
Mhm.
Um, that pretty much sums it
Do you,
up. I
do you
don't,
cook?
no, absolutely not. I said, the heck with the patriarchy. It's a cultural thing.
I didn't
It has
say cook
nothing.
for yourself. Like you can cook for yourself. It had nothing to do with the
Oh,
patriarchy.
but see,
But
that was
I get
never
it.
an
I get
option
it.
provided. It was always like, you need to learn how to cook to
Oh
feed
no.
your man. So
Oh
I
no,
said, no,
no.
thank you.
Good for you. Amen. High five. Um, I was trying to look for an analogy that might work for you. But so you like going to movies, right?
Hmm.
Okay. A person who loves to go to movies pays attention to, oh, okay, little, here's a little weird thing about me.
Hmm.
Maybe you have it too. You know that little thing that happens before the movie starts after you sit through the previews and they do like the little
The opening
commercial,
scene.
the
Hmm.
commercial for the studio,
Uh-huh.
like um MGM, Searchlight, um
Columbia.
Paramount.
Hmm.
Like as that's happening, I'm going, oh, I know when that is. Do you do that?
Hmm. Yep. Like the
Okay.
anticipation.
Like I before like the very first opening, I'm like, oh, that's Pixar. Or and there's a
Hmm.
little game that I play with myself, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember when you started doing that? Because that wasn't something that you ever like. That's not something that people do.
Nope.
Do you remember? Do you
It's
find
just
that do you find that it's weird that you do that, or like
not
a funny little
anymore.
quirk? Yeah, did you think of it
But
as like,
yeah,
all right,
yes, now that you pointed out.
yeah, okay, good. I think I found something. You're because you are somebody who goes to the movies. And the movie process, like most people don't even like my husband has probably has no idea that I do that. That's a little game for me. And
Hmm.
I don't know if other people, it's a game with myself. Like I want to guess it before they show it to me,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
That means that you are somebody who is beginning to notice distinctions that other people don't,
Mm.
that don't matter to people. They haven't realized those details. And like I'm trying, and I get annoyed if I see one that I that I that I guessed wrong. I'm like, I knew that one.
Hmm.
Oh, right?
Yeah.
That's what's happening to you now with writing.
Got it.
You're beginning to notice the little things that you had not paid attention to before.
Hmm.
And it's slowing you down a little bit because you've been on automatic, just sort of doing things, and you haven't really realized and it's not your fault. You haven't really realized that there are that I'm teaching this semester. I'm teaching Intro to Psychology in a 5 week session
Oh,
in prison
yikes.
online.
Wow.
So I have inmates online for 5 weeks, not 15. And I got to get them through not everything in the intro to psychology, but I have to pick certain things. But I, it makes a, a priority for me, no matter where I'm teaching, no matter who I'm teaching, no matter what the setting, no matter how long, is that students learn how to write well, that they know how to express themselves, because that skill transports to every other skill. Because at the beginning of your career, you learn to read. Like first grade
Right.
to fifth grade, for third grade, you learn to read. After fifth grade, you read to learn.
Okay. Yeah.
And most times, the problem that students have with writing is connected to the problems that students have with reading.
Hmm.
And doctoral students notoriously avoid reading, notoriously avoid reading. Because if they, because when they do, until they break through, I did, a lot of people do. I remember when like I had was at my fourth or fifth version of my literature review because I was writing without really reading. I hadn't
Hmm.
read other literature reviews. I hadn't read any experts telling me how a literature review should be constructed. I hadn't read really the assignment prompt. I scanned it.
Hmm.
I hadn't read lots of different literature enough to go, that person's writing this way, that person's writing this way, that person's writing that. Wow, there's a lot of different ways to write. I hadn't read enough to notice those things. And I was trying to approximate writing without having read. So we're beginning to slow down to notice how to write. And noticing how to write means we have to kind of know how people do that. And the way you do that is by reading.
Right. Hmm.
Okay. So the first part of your academic career up until this point, your job really is not to have much of an opinion yourself. Your job is to read other people's thoughts and talk about them. And we say that up until the doctorate program, and there are some exceptions along the way, you're supposed to write in the third person. You can't really write I, me, or my. You're supposed to take your ideas, but write them in the third person. That is the scholarly um, distance that you have to write. But there are some assignments. This is kind of a mixture. Have you had classes yet where the instructor's like, write this in first person?
Well, no,
You're gonna
I don't
hit,
want to say.
you're gonna run into those courses and they're
Hmm.
disorienting. It's like, wait, you want me to write in the first person? You want me to write I, me, or my?
Right. Yeah.
And a lot of times what's happening is students don't know that they're supposed to be writing in the third person, so they write in I, me, or my. And then,
Hmm.
then they struggle moving through the coursework. And so, but the opposite works happens for other students where they have really been beaten into submission to write into the third, like they are literally beating you up into submission to write in the third person. And then you get to the
Mhm.
doctoral, you get to your dissertation and they're like, okay, right eye. And they're like, what? I burst into tears the first time in my chapter two, and I was like, I can write I?
Yeah.
Really? Really? It was so weird. So, unless you are directed otherwise, you should be developing healthy distance from your material writing in the third person. There are times when you can break that fourth wall and pull it in, right? Um, I'm going to show you uh my assignment. It's not pretty. My assignment, my submission for that same assignment, it's not pretty.
Oh.
It like I put it
Mhm.
up with to show it to you last week. I was like, okay, well, this isn't gonna help her yet. You have to like we have to talk about it, and then I'm going to show you what I did,
Right.
and just so that you can see that it's a process. It is definitely a process. Um, so I'll show you mine first. Okay, Just- let me start. Let me let me do to my work what I did to your work.
Hmm.
All right. All right. There was no that wasn't highlighted. This is one, two, three. Okay, that's three sentences. That's not so bad. Self-awareness. Okay, we shouldn't have a citation in the second sentence, and this citation is completely wrong. I don't even know what I was doing. Again, my citations are rough. I don't have a citation, and there's a missing citation in the second sentence. This is before I really understood the power of the meal plan. I do say what the paper is going to do.
Hmm.
Good for me. So this whole paragraph here is like 8 sentences long. It should have been divide or separated into a different paragraph.
Hmm.
Too long. This should be draft described because that was 2012. Okay, I think you get the picture.
Hmm.
Uh, conclusion, references. Now, this was in 2019. We hadn't moved to APA 7th edition yet, but we don't do that. So this, we did at that point put the publication uh, city and location, but this should be, I don't even know what this really was. But you see that this was a hot ass mess. Uh, this conclusion, two sentences. One, two. A paragraph should be at least three sentences. So, what does this um, open up to you as awareness?
I think just the process of learning and how it's not, well, I guess it's not just linear. It's more of a you have a destination, stop there, learn that, take a zick, and keep going. That's
Yep,
just how I can describe it because that's how it
yep,
felt this week, you know?
yep,
Even before I tackled this assignment, which I did struggle with for different reasons. Um, but writing that other one, the one that I had for the current class I have, that's what it felt like. Like, okay, I need to focus first on doing the meal plan, right? Or like writing in that meal plan structure. Okay, now go back and do this and the references and it just kind of felt like stop and go rather than just you got it and go.
hmm. Yeah, you were consciously practicing new skills.
Yeah, because even like the spacing wise, it's like thinking about it, and it's something that used to come so natural to me of just, whatever, you type, 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 type. But even the spacing was something that was like actively reigniting in my brain.
Okay, let's take a look at that paper first, the one that you're ch talking about for the assignment, the one that you worked on, the one that was slower, not the one that we were that.
Oh,
And
not
this
the
time,
rewrite.
not the rewrite. This time, I'm going to focus on all the things you did right and none of the things that need to be corrected.
Okay,
We call
let
that
me.
appreciative inquiry.
I'm like nervous now.
All the things you did right.
Okay.
We learn from both. We learn from both ends, Isabel. We learn from the things that need to be corrected, but we also learn from the things that we did right.
Right.
So I want you to know that I do both. I do both. Okay. All right, here we go.
I'm like, did I do a conclusion? Did I label it? I'm trying to actively think about it.
Hey, let me say, like already, I make impressions from even before I zoom in. The Chicago School, not the Chicago School of Professional Psychology, the Chicago School. Let me go. Uh, you have page breaks where they belong. I haven't even zoomed in, and the paragraphs already are appealing. Yep, yep, yep. There's a conclusion. It's two paragraphs. Yep. Isabel, I haven't even read it, and I already like it.
Thank God, I could cry again.
I haven't even read it. I haven't read it yet, and I already like it. Okay, let's dive in. Magnificent is an organization that currently operates under the boutique fitness and Pilates industry. Acker identified four business strategies to be an important factor in developing a sound business, including product market, investment, functionality, and sustainable competitive advantages. Pilates was developed by Joseph Pilates in New York, where he opened his first studio in 1926, emphasizing core strength, concentration, precision, breathing, and a flow of movement. Pilates transformed the way individuals exercise. Pilates is known to be different from traditional gyms and able to personalize and adapt workouts, making it accessible to individuals with different physical abilities and fitness levels. Magnificent attempts to differentiate itself through small class sizes, highly trained instructors, personalized modifications, and a welcoming relationship-driven environment. Let me tell you what I like so far.
Mhm.
Uh, when you're listing at least three things gives us a pattern. There's the magic of three. Highly trained instructors, personalized modifications, and a welcoming. That's how you know something through the magic of three. Good job. Aker 2001 discussed. I love how you're saying identified, discussed. You're not courting me to death. According to Aker 2001,
And that's actually a skill that I was taught at work because we do a lot of assessments. And initially, I was doing a lot of stated, and they stated. And one of my colleagues actually said, like, you're beating that word to death. Like, you need to. And she gave me a list of words that could
transition
be
words.
yes. So,
Good job. Discuss the differentiation versus low-cost strategies and the ability to provide value to customers and how this strategy assists in enhancing client experience. Magnificent will create an environment welcoming to all levels of practice and utilize assessment for new members to identify skills, appropriate classes, and areas of work. Aside from providing tiered classes, Magnificent will individualize cueing and provide hands-on corrections. Lastly, Magnificent will ensure a close-knit community where the client's injuries and goals are identified and create a culture that emphasizes encouragement over competition. The Pilates industry has established itself for its ability to provide low impact exercising. Acker 2000 established the importance of long range planning and the importance of anticipating growth and complexities of the business. Success for Magnificent can be identified as being able to address the needs of the clients, managing injuries and or chronic pain. To achieve this, Magnificent will require expert instructors who remain consistent. The ability to apply this business strategy ensures that customers can be assured they are being supported. Although the Pilates industry has both a global and domestic scope, Magnificent will focus on local businesses and establishing itself in the community. Creating strategic visions and decisions is part of the strategic market management that allows for precipitation
I have no idea. I don't remember what I was trying to say.
precipitation for the business needs. Okay, Accra 2001. Because of its ability to appeal to different demographics, Pilates studios have been able to operate across multiple companies serving local communities. Participation in Pilates can be advertised to the elderly as a form of assisting with rehabilitation, mobility, and joint pain. To add, it can appeal to the young consumer as a low impact workout to help with posture, flexibility, and strengthening muscles. Matt, okay, let me tell you already.
Hmm.
Um, I have little resistance to your ideas.
What does that mean?
I'm not, I'm not going, what? Huh? What? No, what?
Mm,
Um, we have to remember, keep in mind that academic writing is persuasive. You are persuading the reader.
mhm,
And if little things that happen in your writing bring up the reader going, what? No, they start to resist your ideas.
mhm,
I have
mhm,
very little resistance to your ideas. I have things that I could show you to improve your
Improve.
impact, but I have very little resistance to your ideas. Why? Because first of all, as a scholar, I'm reading and what you're writing to scholars. I'm assuming I know Acker that you are utilizing this textbook. So
Mhm,
as a assignment in the class, you use the textbook. So I'm happy about that. I'm seeing that you're using it in different ways. Using it
mhm,
as identified, discussed, established, uh discuss like I can see how you're using it.
mhm,
I can see that your ideas, Navarro, okay. Um, I can see that you're using two textbooks, right? I now know at the sort of base level that you are leveraging appropriate sources,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
Although the Pilates industry has both a global and domestic scope, I also really, really love this. You're doing this really well by putting clauses out at the beginning instead of at
mhm.
the end. I don't have to go back and reread the sentence.
Mm.
Let me see. Well, she did that. Your use of good transition words, like lastly, helps me know how you're moving through ideas.
Mhm.
Okay. Magnificent will focus on local business establishing itself in the community. Creating strategic visions and decisions is part of the strategic market management that allows for precipitation for the business needs. Because of its ability to appeal to different demographics, Pilates studios have been able to operate across multiple countries serving local communities. Participation, okay, I read that already. Magnificent will be a locally, is this your proposal for a company?
Yeah.
Okay. Magnificent will be a locally owned Pilates studio that is dedicated to create a space for high quality instruction in a community that is provided with limited opportunities. Acker discussed the importance of determining the attractiveness of the market. Magnificent will be located in Huntington Park, California, a small city in the greater Los Angeles, California area. Huntington Park, along with surrounding cities, including Southgate, Linwood, Maywood, Inglewood, Compton, and Vernon, has limited opportunities for fitness classes. Placing Magnificent in Huntington Park allows us to fulfill a need that has not yet been met. The need for the service in the area is grand. However, given there is no current knowledge of how the service will be perceived, it will initially be a small studio with hopes of expanding to bigger locations. Identifying a market's potential and ability to grow is important to attracting new users. Provide nice, nice job. Providing different services, including mat Pilates and original bar, will reduce the barriers for users. Additionally, again, I love this. Additionally, you're using transition words really well. Utilizing these two forms of workouts requires minimal equipment while continuing to provide elite performance through effective core conditioning, flexibility, and strength. You're doing this really, really well. Although Magnificent will not rank nationally in the industry, again, I don't want to understate how powerful that is. Sometimes what people do will say the value will lie in its strong local community presence and ability to identify growth prospects. Although Magnificent will not rank nationally in the industry, they put it last.
Mm-hmm.
Navarro discussed the importance of discovering new market opportunities and identifying additional organizational goal. Magnificent will operate with modest revenues, being able to generate its income through monthly memberships, private sessions, class package, small groups, and merchandising. Personalizing service, instructor development, client engagement, and reinvesting in the community. There it is again. Magnificent. Nice work. Will work to differentiate itself from franchises and competitors. Additionally, Magnificent will advertise to teachers, social workers, healthcare workers, amongst other community member professionals, providing incentives and discounts. Competition for Magnificent includes yoga studios, CrossFit gyms, personal training facilities, and larger Pilates franchises. Navarro indicated the importance of evaluating the competition by defining relevant market that an organization will operate in. Although the local region Magnificent is located in does not have Pilates studios or yoga studios, there are CrossFit gyms, personal training facilities, and there are personal cross. Okay. Additionally, there are also Pilates studios and yoga studios a few miles away in surrounding cities, including Downer, Whittier, and downtown Los Angeles. Within our target areas, including Huntington Park, Southgate, Linwood, Compton, Vernon, and Inglewood, it has also been identified that Zumba studios are popular. Identifying customers' willingness to pay for a service is considered a key piece in price elasticity and the demand for the product. Uh, Again, I have very little resistance to your ideas. Understanding the community's inclination for different classes and offering a unique service in can be both beneficial and a disadvantage for the business. Magnificent will require advertising consistency and excellence to ensure clients remain with our services. Additionally, it would be important to cater to the community demographics, understanding music interests for engagement in classes and other needs the community may have. Magnificent will work towards ensuring the brand creates an identity that conveys empowerment, enjoyment, positivity, and fun. Uh, okay. We might just talk about that. Indicates there are a few ways of growth direction, including being able to participate to penetrate the already existing market. Magnificent will be doing just that and differentiating itself by solidifying its brand. Targeting the Hispanic community through themed classes, cultural events, linguistically supported, and inclusive imagery. This is the first time I went, hmm. I'll tell you why.
Mhm.
It's I am at I am 85% before I'm like, that's huge, Isabel. Presenting the studio through these means will reduce barriers of cost perception, intimidation, or lack of representation in fitness spaces. Let's bring it home. Conclusion. Magnificent enters the Pilates industry as a boutique fitness studio that is grounded in community engagement, long-term market awareness, and differentiates itself by its identity. Rather than competing with cost, Magnificent creates value through enhancing customer experience through small class sizes, personalized programming, and small class sizes aligning with the differentiation strategy. Meeting the diverse needs of the clientele, Magnificent fosters loyalty and trust within the community, creating cultural awareness, cultural responsiveness, including inclusive branding and strong local focus. The studio effectively engages the Hispanic community while remaining welcoming to individuals of all fitness levels and backgrounds. Initiating as a small local operating studio, its strategic planning, market awareness, and commitment will create open opportunities for sustainable growth. With the purpose of initiating this is the first time you did not,
Mhm.
the, and that is huge. That signals to me that I see your effort and learning does not have to be perfect to be meaningful. Through this education, Magnificent hopes to appeal not just to professionals, but make Pilates accessible to the entire community. The success of Magnificent will be measured by financial performance, but also by its ability to improve physical well-being, empower individuals, serve the community, and educate as to the benefits of the service. Well done.
Tried.
Well done. What are you thinking?
Um, I'm really not, to be honest. It's just kind of like hard, I guess. Not hard. I don't think that's the right word. I just think that it, I know we were focusing on like the positives, but in my brain, I'm like, oh, I could have done that better, or I could have done this better. And that's just my personality. Um, so yeah,
Okay. You, first of, if I were giving this, if you were giving it a grade, what would you give it
I
out
have
of
no
100?
idea.
No, you have to.
75.
Ooh,
Yeah.
93.
Interesting because that's what I got.
93. There are so few. This is, this paper is it sits between the graduate and the doctorate level. It hasn't quite made it to the doctorate level, but it is in the acceptable range of what we should be looking for. Very different than the paper that you looked at from last semester.
Right.
So, appreciative inquiry means that you want to look at what's absolutely. I mean, as a psychologist, I'm trained, you're trained to look at people don't come to us when things are fabulous, when things are working well. They come to us when things are broken. So we are trained to look for what's broken, what's missing, what's not working. I have
Right.
learned, I mean, that makes me a awesome person to be married to. Always pointing out what's broken, what's missing, and what's right.
Don't let my husband hear
Mine isn't here either. I've
you.
had to learn there is something called appreciative inquiry. And when sometimes in my freelance pharmaceutical work, they actually hire us. Um, a huge pharmaceutical company. I've worked on almost every major pharmaceutical company that you could think of, and a wide range of medical assets at various stages of FDA approval. You know the work when you're looking at a commercial, um, and they're talking about a medication, and you see what people are doing stuff in the background. That's my work.
Hmm. Oh,
We interview specialists, surgeons, patients, sometimes terminal, and caregivers on a wide range of disease states. And a lot of times, we use something called emotional inquiry, where we're looking at what's the emotion around why a doctor chooses one medication versus another one, uh, which is a scary idea to even consider.
seriously.
That doctors are emotionally connected to one medication versus another.
Hmm.
And it sometimes really depends on the incentives that they get from
Right.
pharmaceutical company, right? They have their eyes closed and we're rooting around in their subconscious, talking about when you got when you became a doctor, what was your motivation? Talking about your first patient with small cell lung cancer. Um, Tell me what you thought. Tell me what was going on. Show me now you're a patient that you looked at last week. And sometimes they hire us to look for what's missing in their marketing strategy. Sometimes they hire us to look at only what's working, and it's called appreciative inquiry.
Mm.
It's a qualitative research method called appreciative inquiry, where you are building on strengths. Both work. You can work on what's missing and what's broken, but you could also work on what's working. So, isn't it interesting that two independent instructors didn't rate it 100, didn't rate it 0,
Hmm.
didn't rate it 75, which you did of
Yeah.
your own work, and we both were like, no, it's 93. Isn't that
That's
interesting?
exactly what I got.
Isn't that interesting? Do you think
Hmm.
that's a coincidence?
No.
There are so few, and I don't know Dr. Miller personally. I've encountered him a couple of times. I don't know him. I think of him, he's a kind of a big guy, got a big personality.
No, I think it's the other Dr. Miller.
Oh,
This
me.
one's kind of,
Oh, Byron Miller. I don't even know him.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So I was thinking of another person.
Hmm.
Um, are you online or on ground?
In person
In person. Okay.
for this class, yeah.
Okay. And then interesting that we both had the same reaction to that paper
Hmm.
because it is a very clean paper. It is very clean. Now, the difference between 93 and 100 are small tweaks in some ways, and in some ways, some big ideas. Um, the biggest thing that would keep me from rating the paper higher is that I don't see any peer-reviewed research supporting your ideas.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
a little boring going back and forth between two textbook sources. I want you as a researcher to go beyond the textbook and look to see where your ideas are being reflected in peer-reviewed research. I want to see how you are positioning other things besides the textbook to show how you're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Um, where we both responded very positively is that there was in almost in every paragraph, with the exception of one, we knew that you weren't just talking out your ass. You were talking, at least signaling that the ideas came from Acker and came from Navarro.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what we do when we see that. We go, I mean, we don't know if you really read the book, but at least you're positioning it as if you did. And
I
if every
did.
and if everything else flows and makes sense, we go, yeah, yeah. And with the exception, almost every time you had a narrative citation, the verb that you used was past tense because that was like 2021. That's going
Mm-hmm.
to help you in your ability to synthesize material. You're at the very beginning stage where you're learning to read something, internalize it, and turn it into your own work. You are exactly where we expect you to be. But the reality is, most students are several steps behind where we expect them to be, and they refuse to
Mm-hmm.
even acknowledge that. So you did a whole lot of heavy lifting. And I also am going to tell you, you've primed him now to be now receptive to your next paper because he went through your paper very easily. He's like, so now he's expecting your ideas. So he's already now from the very beginning, that, just that it looks like it's supposed to look, puts his whole level of resistance down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So can we talk about the tweak? So we can now both agree that it's a high quality paper.
Yeah,
Okay. And
sure.
you can hide a lot of no.
I'm just kidding.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. You got to stop being hard on yourself. That is a 93 out of
Right.
100 paper, and you worked hard on it. It's clear you didn't just slap some shit together.
Mhm. And see, I think that's where I'm being critical of myself because I know that I could have dedicated a little more time to this than what I did.
Sure.
And and I feel like that's where my resistance comes from, where it's like, imagine what you could have done had you sat down and actually like took these extra, do you know what I mean?
I
And it's
do.
like,
But
and that's my lack of, I guess, discipline at this
nope.
stage in
Nope.
in
Nope. It's a lack of clarity in what's required. And let me tell you this right now. Most you're about to expand your awareness in ways that are going to propel you because most students only do writing at one level. You're about to
Mhm.
learn that writing actually is three levels. Level one, drafting. Level 2, revising. Level 3, polishing.
Mm.
Most people only do level 1.
Okay, so I'm not alone then. And see,
They,
that's the part that I'm like beating myself up about. I'm like, imagine if you would have taken the time to go
well,
back
yeah,
and
you didn't know the budget that time. You sat down probably Friday night, threw that paper together. Maybe you did a little more work on it on Saturday, and then you submitted it. Did I nail it?
I literally worked on this Sunday
Okay.
and
I was,
pulled it together and
all right.
submitted it.
So, so considering that, even better. So now here's what you have to do now. You have to move the paper back from Sunday to Friday.
Yeah.
You need to do it on Friday, get your good thoughts, and then stop, let it go, come back on Sunday,
Hmm.
revise, let it go, come back on Sunday, and polish.
Okay.
That's what good. If you can build that practice now, draft, revise, polish in 3 separate sessions. You're drafting, revising, and polishing in the same session. Your best ideas won't survive that deadline. And most people don't know to push it, don't know to do that. So it's a little trick that you have to do with yourself. Your submission dates are never Sunday. Your submission dates are Friday. And would you like to play a little game?
Sure.
Here's the game. Actually submit it on Friday
Oh.
and then come back and revise it and submit it on Saturday. And then come back and polish it and submit it on Sunday. You can write a little note to your instructor. I'm working on the 3 phase writing process: drafting, revising, polishing. This is a little game that I'm playing with myself so that I actually produce a draft that doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be good, and I'm submitting it, and then I'm going to walk away. And then the next day, I'm going to pick it up and spend half the time or less because I've already written. Now I just have to revise it. And then I'm going to submit that. And then on Sunday, I'm going to come back and I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to add flourishes. I'm going to look for things that could be better.
Hmm.
All right?
Okay.
Here we go. Whenever you say you number things, well, here, let's do this one first thing. Pay attention to what Word is telling you. Word doesn't like this. See that little?
Hmm.
So pay attention to that. And this is telling you that it doesn't like that spelling. And you want to tell it this is correct when added to your dictionary. So that goes away. Okay. If I were giving some feedback on a name, I would name it, but that's me.
Hmm.
Okay. Look for any other place. Okay, so that tells you that there's a mismatch somewhere. Let's
Hmm.
look for other places that Word didn't like. Okay. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Those are the little things that because you have it in your head, the way what you mean, that you don't actually see it on the page. You only see what you thought.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Well, what happened to Akers here? Akers. Ah, see that?
Oh, yeah.
Pay attention to that. That's telling you something's wrong. Okay. So I would go, that's the thing. When you're drafting, just don't worry about correcting. Draft. You can
Mm-hmm.
come back and revise. Let me take all of the colors off.
And I even noticed that when I was revising that other paper we were talking about. I
Hmm.
think the bigger part of it is that I get annoyed at looking at my screen for so long that I'm just like, okay, this is good enough, quote unquote. Um, and I
That's because you're
it,
doing it all in the same day.
right, right. And that's something that I noticed because I was working on this, I think it was Thursday night, on the revision one. And I had to go back to it yesterday, and I was like, oh, it's not. I guess in my mind, it had always felt like not repetitive, but more like burdensome to have to go back. It just felt like, I don't want to look at this again. I just want to get it over with.
I just want to move forward. But
Yeah,
our writing is bad writing until it is revised and polished.
yeah. And
Um,
and I think I did notice the importance of it when I went back to it yesterday to revise, of how you're like your brain is in a different mindset than it
completely,
was the day before. Yeah. So,
completely. It's called reflection.
mhm.
Like you write, writing is the process of expressing yourself. It is uh kind of male energy, right? Reflecting is female energy or feminine
Mm.
energy, masculine and feminine energy to get it out of gender. And we have not prioritized in American education the value of reflection. Like I will write something. uh, I'm going to actually show you a little bit of my writing that actually talks about this. I've been really moving forward on my book, but uh, writing really, when we start getting you into the style ready to for your dissertation, a dissertation really is written. It takes 1,078 hours to create a dissertation. I remember reading that and like, oh, well, I better get busy.
That's how I feel.
I better get busy. And I better start counting those hours. And
Mhm.
those hours have to count. So I started writing an hour a day every day. And I still do that. I write an hour a day every day. Sometimes I emerge from that and there it's called Pomodoro. We'll get to that in a session in couple sessions. A Pomodoro session. Sometimes I would emerge from that hour session with 3 paragraphs.
Mm.
That was it. But those paragraphs started to compound, and it got to the point where I had 16,000 words. But you have to write. And I had to also let myself write and not come back the next day and edit the shit out of what I just wrote. I had to just keep writing, which meant
Mm,
I had to allow myself the space to be wrong for a while and not perfect.
not that long ago, maybe like 2 weeks before we started meeting, I was just trying to like write, just to kind of, get myself in that headspace. And I'm sitting at my desk, my husband's sitting at the couch, and I'm like grunting and moaning sitting there. And he's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, it's not making sense. And he said something that I was just like, if you're gonna use logic, I can't talk to you. Because he looks at me, he says, "Well, is it supposed to?" Like, you know what? Get out
Shut
of my
up.
face. Yes.
No. Isabel, really, I want you to repeat after me. All writing
All writing
is bad writing
is bad writing
until it is revised
until it is revised
and polished.
and polished. Yeah.
You do not have to, it is unreasonable to expect that you're going to sit down in the 45 minutes that you gave yourself on Sunday to turn the project in Sunday night to crank out perfect prose. It's unreasonable. All right. So anytime you important to be, I think what happened to be important factors that was telling you,
Yeah.
including project product market,
Oh,
investment, functionality, and so now the reader can see it, and so can you.
right.
Pilates. Um, okay. Simple things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here's the only thing missing for me that would take this paper from 93 to 97. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Is, when I take this out, this paper will, what's the,
Mm.
what is the, what is the focus, what is the goal of this paper? What should this paper do?
Um, Great question. Ah, right. Introduce, I guess, a business plan, and trying to think because those are parts that I struggle with. Kind of like I know what I'm trying to do, I just don't know how to verbalize it. Well, when you put it that way.
And what does that do for you?
I think it summarizes, no, I don't think it summarizes what I'm trying to convey of what we're trying to do, but also what is the idea behind the proposal, I guess.
Yeah, so now the reader knows what's going to happen, and you've given yourself like a playground, like this is what's going to
Hmm.
happen. So you won't veer off topic,
Hmm.
right? Uh, Magnificent is a company. It can't do anything. It can't differentiate anything.
Sure.
You, as the founder, is can differentiate it. This
Yeah.
is called anthropomorphism.
Anthropomorphism.
It's when you give an inanimate object the ability to do things like a person. Magnificent can't differentiate itself, but you, as the founder, can differentiate it by clarity in its offerings. So that one sentence boosts. Let's take a look at what you said initially, and let's take a look at the new sentence.
Yeah.
Read it.
I, I didn't know you could do that.
Yep.
Magnificent attempts to differentiate itself through small class sizes, highly trained instructors, personalized modifications, and welcoming relationship-driven environment. And a
Now,
welcoming.
now I want you to see a company differentiating itself.
Right.
You can't, can you?
Right. No.
Now read it.
As a founder, my goal is to differentiate Magnificent through small class sizes, highly trained instructors, personalized modifications, and a welcoming relationship-driven environment.
Same idea,
Right.
but now you shift it. We can see in academic writing, you always want to see the actor doing something.
Hmm.
Want to show who's doing something.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's interesting how that small shift even brings up like all these articles that I read about organizations and how it's never planted on the organization. It's more planted on like supervisors will, employees will, CEOs, like it's, and I didn't recognize that or I didn't realize that until like this moment.
Okay. Now, is there any reason to highlight Acker? Is there any reason to highlight Acker?
I don't think so. I think
No.
it's just a way of,
Nope. Acker does not need to be highlighted.
okay.
Whenever you use a narrative citation, you're telling the reader to remember Acker.
Uh-huh.
We don't need to remember Acker, do we?
No.
No. So we're going to de-emphasize Acker. Thoughts?
I guess that part, or at least I'm thinking about the citations and how I'm trying to learn how to implement them, right? And in my in my head while writing this paper, it's like, well, it can't be an in-text citation. So we have to like try to figure out the narrative versus no, not in-text, direct quote.
Hmm.
Narrative versus in-text citation. And I mean, being honest, I'm still struggling on how to kind of implement them,
It's
which,
okay. It's
yeah,
week. This is week 3.
yeah. Um, but I like that you're doing this in real time because it just helps me understand a little bit better of like the summarizing process because I guess it in my head when I'm doing this, it feels, I guess, wrong, for lack of a better word, to like smush so much information from different parts, if that makes sense. Because I guess my brain has been conditioned to like the direct quotes, where it's like you're taking this information, this very specific information from one part of the text, right? And putting it in here. Where that is taking
A
several
big
different
idea
points.
from
Yes.
across the textbook.
Yeah, yeah. And it
Okay,
just feels
good.
it but it feels wrong in my
Okay.
head, if that makes sense. Like it
Yes, it does.
feels like
Let me tell you why. This is good. I'm so glad we're talking about this. You are ascending.
okay.
You're ascending. Paraphrasing is when you read something from a source, and in this case, it is a textbook, right? We're talking about Acker's textbook.
Mhm.
You are so focused on, have been up till now. I'm going to click this little
Information.
sentence,
Yeah.
these 40 words, and then I'm going to paraphrase that. I'm going to directly quote that. And I'm going to take the copy and paste direct, and that's what I'm talking about. And then I'm going to put the citation there.
Right.
What I just showed you is across how you've read the book,
Mm,
not just this chapter, not just that chapter, across your reading of the book. This is your understanding. This is your internalization of what Acker is hinting at.
hmm.
And Acker is not important. Acker is not important.
Right.
We don't need to keep seeing Acker's name. You only use narrative citation when you're pointing out something specific about Acker that Ackers did. And we usually do that in a peer-reviewed study. It's when we get to literature review. There are times when students write the way they should write in a literature review every place else. And then when they get to the literature review, they don't write the way they should for a literature review.
Hmm.
This is you beginning to pull your ideas through. Watch this.
Mm,
Can you say with comfort that this idea stems from your combined understanding of both texts?
yeah.
That is your first synthesized citation.
Mm.
You have to
Yeah,
start thinking more broadly.
right.
Okay. So now I'm going to pick up where you said first. Read the paragraph now. Let's say, take a look at what's happening now.
As a founder, my goal is to differentiate Magnificent through small class sizes, highly trained instructors, personalized modifications, and a welcoming relationship-driven environment. First, business owners achieve competitive advantage via enacting decisive strategies of differentiation, providing values to customers, and focus on enhancing
And
the client's
focusing.
experience
Okay,
and
that's here.
focusing.
Here's how you like you see I had enacting there, providing there. I needed to have focusing there.
Got it.
Hmm.
Um, Moving forward from the startup phase, my goal is to create an environment welcoming to all levels of practice by utilizing individual assessments for new members to identify skills, direct them to appropriate classes, and highlight their unique areas of work. Aside from providing tiered classes, Magnificent instructors will be required to individualize cueing and provide hands-on correction. Finally, the organizational culture I will conscientiously create will foster a close-knit community where client's injuries and goals are identified in a style that emphasizes encouragement over competition.
And notice that I italicized them.
Yeah. Why?
We don't put them in quotations. Quotations are used only for direct quotes.
All right.
You want to highlight encouragement and competition.
Uh-huh.
And now, again, look at the difference between the original, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines in the original. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 lines in the, but notice what happened. There's some shape. First,
Yeah.
moving forward, finally. And I didn't change much of
Hmm.
your original prose. What did you see me do?
More than anything, it just the structure of it. It
Oh,
kind of, yeah. It seems like the idea is there. It's just a matter of like the flow of it, the way
polish.
that, yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Um, so I let's continue this with this paper. I'd like you to continue going through and de-emphasizing. We don't need to see Acker.
okay.
Uh, and we could do something really simple, like there are articles, like not just peer-reviewed articles, but I'll do a quick search for uh, the attractiveness of the LA market, LA business market. Okay, I did a very quick internet search. I said, the what is the of attractiveness of the LA business market for fitness? And I did a small little search. I clicked on this guy. Health, okay. So now your work it's expected to reach 2.32 $234 billion by 2034. You can cite this uh, very quickly. The It's Allied Market Research, and it doesn't have a date. There's no date, and there's no author. But now your paper has some real, where was I? It was right here, I think. Sure where it was, but let me just put it where someplace. So where you ever said we were talking about Los Angeles. Okay, here we go. Allied market research. How long did that take?
Not long at all.
And voila. And now you just learned something about the market. How long did it
Mm-hmm.
take you to do that?
Right. Yeah.
And now your paper has a little more heat.
Substance. Yeah.
So I invite you to continue this work. This is a process. You went from, now I would have judged your first paper last week at 75. This is 93. From 93 to 100 are little tweaks like that.
Mm-hmm.
Does that give you, in comparison to how you felt last week, how do you feel now?
Um, a little, I don't know how to explain it because it takes me a pretty long time to kind of process my emotions and just like
Mhm.
kind of run with it. It was a very hard week, I will say that. Where it and I think in part it's just like the psychological part of it, right? That comes with this territory and just kind of learning a lot about yourself. Um, and it it created not God, I don't even know how to explain this, but it just put me in a very different mindset. And it took a toll, not just on my brain, but my body, right? Mentally and physically, it took a lot out of me. I don't feel like that as much today. I think today it just feels a lot more manageable, to kind of make these tweaks, right? It feels like, yeah, like this is part of it. Whereas last week it felt like you're never gonna get this kind of, So better. Um, but still in that processing part of emotion and I don't know if everybody feels this way. I don't know if it's like normal for me to be so emotional about this.
Emotional?
Yeah. So it's kind of strange also because it's like
No.
I just want to because I'm used to just pushing through things, I mean, even in my work, despite the complexities, despite, everything that happens, it's very hard, don't get me wrong, and there are cases where it does take a lot out of me. Um, it just feels strange in this setting, you know?
Well, a lot of your writing. Has been in isolation.
Yeah.
Without input, without transparency, and the only feedback you get is 3 days later when the professor gives you a grade.
Yeah. And then at that point, it's like the point is
It's
moot because
it's over.
you've
Yeah,
already gotten a grade for
it's
it.
over, right? And um and you haven't really turned yourself inward to understand, and it's part of the process that writing is there's three parts: drafting, revising, polishing.
Yeah.
Um, which sort of represents a little bit of a death, like
Yeah.
because most of us like we want to write the paper and submit it and never think about it again. That is
Yeah.
not how you're going to get through a dissertation. You
Facts.
have to write that shit and revise it again and again and again and again from three different people's perspectives
Yeah.
until you become the expert and you start telling them no, no, no. But if you don't build the practice, which is where we started, if you don't build the practice of writing where you have to draft it, you have to give yourself permission to put the ideas on the page. And now we have some structure. You're going to get faster at the meal plan. You're already getting faster at and more exact and correct at APA citations. That's huge, Isabel.
Hmm.
Huge. You're not spending time doing that anymore, worrying or going to OWL to figure it out.
Hmm.
Um, and now to know that submitting your paper on Friday, do you accept that game?
Yes.
Submitting on Friday,
Yeah.
submitting on Saturday, submitting on Sunday. And let me tell you this, that's a great strategy for you. I cannot tell you how many students are like, I wrote the paper, I did it all, and then I lost it.
No.
You can always come back and download the version that you submitted.
Hmm.
So I started using that as my um, backup strategy.
Right.
This is version one. My computer breaks down. I got version one.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Good job. I told you that you won't recognize yourself in a couple weeks. You have 2 more weeks before I think you're ready
We're
to say
getting
that.
there.
Before
Yeah.
you're ready to say that. I already see a huge difference from last week to this week. That paper wasn't, this paper was an A
Hmm.
paper.
Hmm.
That was an A paper. And it still had things that it could do,
Modified.
but
Hmm.
that's an A paper. You are presenting an idea that's your company that doesn't exist. That's hard to do.
Hmm.
You know, the assignments, like the case study kinds of assignments, are really hard because you have to use your imagination. This magnificent doesn't exist, but you have to act
Hmm.
like it does. That's hard.
Yeah.
You did well.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Alrighty. I'll see you next week.
I'll see you next week.